Eyewitness News at video@myabc7.com.
Tonight, across the nation, the people speak. Super Tuesday, Showdown Coast to Coast. Live from ABC News with Charles Gibson, Diane Sawyer, and George Stephanopoulos.
The polls now closed by my count in 18 of the 24 states that we're actually looking at tonight. You know, we've got millions of dollars in equipment in here, and what am I doing? I'm filling this out by hand on a sheet. That's what I can understand, and we hope all the technical stuff works and all the money is well spent. But let me tell you exactly where we stand at this hour, because we've just been able to make a couple of more projections. On the Democratic side, we've been able to project now that Barack Obama will carry the state of Alabama. We have 25% of the precincts reporting in Alabama. We project Barack Obama will carry the state. This is a state, again, where there was a heavy African-American vote today. Hillary Clinton had gone on the air advertising in Alabama in recent days. Still can pick up a lot of delegates in Alabama, as we talked about, because the Democrats apportion their delegates in each state, but Barack Obama will carry the state of Alabama. So this is the way this Democratic summary stands now. Hillary Clinton, we have projected to win New York, Arkansas, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, and Tennessee, and Barack Obama to carry the states of Illinois, Alabama, Georgia, and Delaware. Now, there are a couple of states that we're still waiting for and still watching, because these are really critical. The vote coming in very slowly in Missouri. The polls closed there more than an hour and a half ago, and we have 13% of the precincts reporting. Hillary Clinton with a 19,000 vote lead. But this is one that is going to be very close, we think, throughout the evening. And based on the exit polls, key precincts, we can't project this, and I doubt we'll be able to project it for some time. Missouri, very much of a bellwether. And then in Connecticut, also a state that closed an hour and a half ago, Barack Obama continuing to hold on to a very narrow lead in that state. Now 39% of the precincts reporting a 3,000 vote lead there. Hillary Clinton has carried the states all around Connecticut, carrying Massachusetts, carrying New York, New Jersey, but Connecticut, again, Chris Dodd was going to carry the state if he'd stayed in, but it made it wide open, and Obama now with the lead.
And Barack Obama worked very hard on this state because he needed to poach one state from Hillary Clinton's base. This is now his only hope remaining.
Indeed. Let's go to the Republican side now, and we've been able to project in the last few moments that in the state of New York, John McCain will be the winner of the New York primary. This, a winner-take-all state. McCain to pick up 101 delegates in the state of New York. That is a very big win for John McCain. So, in the Republican summary, states projected, McCain carrying Illinois, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware. Romney projected the winner in Massachusetts. Mike Huckabee projected the winner in his home state of Arkansas, but also the state of Alabama. And he won the West Virginia convention this afternoon. A couple of states that we're still watching. The popular vote in Missouri, a bellwether for the Democrats, a bellwether for the Republicans, and in something of a surprise, with only 14% of the vote so far in, Mike Huckabee with a 7% lead over John McCain. And in the state of Georgia, the popular vote there, Mike Huckabee with a 4% vote lead, or 4% in the vote lead over John McCain. 53% of the precincts reporting in Georgia. In Oklahoma, again, Huckabee a strong vote, but still now at this point with 50% of the vote reporting, running second to John McCain in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, George.
You are seeing a lot of third places there for Mitt Romney in a row. So far, he has only won his home state. He's also likely to win the state of Utah, but he is facing a very tough night so far, and he's going to have to face a tough decision. If he doesn't overtake John McCain in the state of California, it's going to be very hard for him to continue.
And one more state, which we have not yet been able to project, I want to show you that, the state of Tennessee. And again, there's a Mitt Romney in third place, with Mike Huckabee in second behind John McCain.
That's right. They talked about the prairie fire in Iowa, and would it continue? Well, it turns out to be a fire that everybody is getting scorched by a little bit here. So certainly Mitt Romney is. Well, I want to talk about something else, because we know these divides that we want to examine in the country, and we talked a little bit about the gender and race and ethnicity. Another big question for tonight, and we're getting information on that, was this whole question of youth versus age and the youth vote, and would it turn out or not? in some ways it's the under 30s against the grandparents and who would get the running shoes on and get out first. We have some information coming in. As we know, Senator Obama has done so well among the youth vote, and that continues. Democrats under 30 are supporting Senator Obama, 61% there, and Hillary Clinton, Senator Clinton at 38%. So is Senator Clinton continuing her large margins among the older vote? Seems so. She is bringing them in at more than 50%. And Barack Obama, Senator Obama, is about 36% there.
One of the things we saw in Iowa, Diane, is that Barack Obama actually got the percentage of the youth vote up. He had that close to equal the seniors. So far, that hasn't been happening tonight, and that still gives a little bit of an edge, even though Barack Obama is doing very well with the youth vote. Hillary Clinton has more voters because the seniors are a larger percentage of the electorate.
That's right. I want to show you. In fact, we can demonstrate that because the female Democrats over 65 are continuing to support Senator Clinton at 58% to Barack Obama's 35%. But when you compare the older voters to the younger voters and how many of them are showing up to vote, there it is, 22%. They're getting up, getting out of their houses. Where are those under 30 voters? I think it's time to turn to ABC's Bianca Rodriguez, because as we know, we have this partnership with Facebook, about 64 million people worldwide on it, and a conversation of 1 million people is taking place as we speak, and Bianca's been monitoring. Bianca, what about the answer to that question? Why aren't the youth vote getting out in larger numbers?
You know, Diane, that is a very good question. It's surprising us as well, because I have to tell you, we went to go visit universities and Facebook users here and students in the D.C. area, and they've all been talking about going out and supporting these voters, these candidates, particularly Obama and Clinton. Obama particularly was what they were telling us yesterday. Of course, that doesn't seem to be the case tonight, and we want to tell you what they're saying on these soundboards. These are real-time users that are giving us their thoughts right now on these results. Courtney is thinking that too many college-age people are brainwashed by Obama's promise of hope and are intimidated by Hillary's strength. That's pretty interesting. We do want to know, Diane, we want to answer your question as to why we're not getting enough or that many people, the youth vote, out at this moment. So we want to ask people right now to log on to Facebook and to join and give us their real-time answers to this question. What would make you more likely to vote? Do you need incentives? Maybe if I give you an iPod, you will go out and vote. Who knows? But weekend voting, online voting, all of these things, we're curious, and we want to hear everyone's answers to those questions right now. Diane will be checking on this throughout the night. We want to invite everyone to do it. You go to abcnews.com/politics and you click on the Facebook logo and you can talk directly to us, Diane.
All right, good. Yes, keep raising the stakes there. Pizza with toppings. See how far you get there, Joe.
All right, I want to go down to Washington and talk to our panel of experts, really. Cokie Roberts, George Will, who you know very well, so often with George Stephanopoulos. Also Every Sunday. Donna Brazile as well, who is the former Gore campaign manager and ABC News political contributor, and Matthew Dowd, an ABC News political contributor as well, and of course the former chief strategist for George Bush in his 2004 campaign. George Will, Matthew Dowd, let me start with you and talk a little bit about this Republican phenomenon that we're seeing. I'm not sure anyone anticipated such a strong showing from Mike Huckabee in as many states. Everybody was wondering, would the conservatives come out and vote for McCain? They have not, but it is Huckabee who is benefiting, and I wonder how this changes the landscape, George.
It makes it just extremely difficult for Mitt Romney to get up any momentum at all, because those should be voters with which he might have been a second choice. You can't complain about this, really, but he has had schedule lock, Huckabee has, as football coaches say. That is, after they left New England, they went down to South Carolina, Florida, and now a lot of the southern states where the evangelical vote is astonishingly high, that's 78% total of the Alabama Republican turnout was, that's got to be some kind of amazing record. The calendar has unfolded in a way that is good for Huckabee, who has, I think, still a low ceiling in terms of delegates and the possibility of getting nominated, but a very high ability to destroy Mitt Romney.
Matthew, and I don't want to bury the lead here. The lead is still that John McCain has done very well in these winner-take-all states and comes out of this night very strongly. But he has not gotten the conservative vote in the South. Huckabee has, and it does create something of a different dynamic.
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously, John McCain's done well so far tonight. I think that if Rudy Giuliani is John McCain's best friend tonight, then his second best friend is Mike Huckabee, because he keeps Mitt Romney from getting any oxygen among those conservative voters who right now are not liking John McCain. That doesn't bode well for John McCain on motivation in the general election if he wins the nomination. But Mike Huckabee is a good friend to John McCain tonight to keep Mitt Romney low.
And Matthew, then does California become even more important to Mitt Romney? And in fact, he has to win it tonight in order really to come out with any viability from this night.
Yeah, I think Mitt Romney, the whole stakes are in California. And even if he wins California and barely, there's still a question about whether or not he wants to keep writing checks and keep spending millions of dollars. It's all about California. If he loses California, basically he has to get up tomorrow and say, what's my exit strategy? And
you know, Mitt Romney faced a choice last week coming out of Florida on whether or not to really dig deep into his checkbook. He's already spent about $35 million. He chose not to do it. He only spent about $3 million over the weekend. If he didn't do it last weekend, I find it hard to believe he's going to do it coming out of tonight.
Let me talk a little bit about the Democrats. Donna, what have you seen so far that has struck you?
Well, a surge in women. We've seen over the last couple of weeks, women have dominated all of the Democratic primaries and caucuses. But what I'm looking at tonight is a 3 or 4% increase overall in the number of women that are turning out. Clearly, women are scared. They're worried about the economy. They're concerned about the rising cost of fuel and health care. And they're turning out in large numbers to help Senator Clinton. Look, if women begin to split their vote, half to Obama, half to Clinton, she's in trouble. But for right now, they're excited because women are still backing Senator Clinton.
Cokie, any state that has surprised you at all on the Democratic side?
No, I don't think that there have been any big surprises, except toward the end it looked like Mrs. Clinton was in trouble in places like Massachusetts, and the fact that she won it is, I suppose, a surprise, but it shouldn't have been. And we were talking here among ourselves earlier about how she's in a very different place than she expected to be at this point tonight. You know, she didn't expect to be out in the weeds counting delegates. So I think that is very significant. On the other hand, if you look at the groups that are for her, they are the groups who vote. It's women, it's old people. Those are the people who show up at the polls. And it's very interesting that she has this huge Hispanic vote, because in the olden days, that used to be the single greatest problem for women candidates, was getting Hispanic men, particularly, to vote for them. And the fact that that has turned around is very significant for her, not only in this election, but for going forward.
Charlie, if I could add one thing. If you wonder why the elderly vote, and if you have to choose between getting the elderly vote or the youth vote, go for the elderly vote. In 2004, 1 in 4 voters were 64 years old or older. Why, you wonder? Well, the president just dropped on Congress his $3.1 trillion budget. More than a third of that budget goes to 2 entitlement programs, Social Security and Medicare, for the elderly. The federal government is increasingly a transfer payments pump, transferring wealth from the working young and middle-aged to the retired elderly. Of course they vote. They have the biggest stake in our government.
To add a corollary to George Will's rule right there, also, if you're going to be in a Democratic primary, be the candidate that wins Democrats, not independents, and that's one of the other strengths of Hillary Clinton tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Donna Washington. We'll be coming back talking to you. Always interesting. I want to pick up, though, on something that we were talking about with George and Matthew Dowd, and that is I keep referring to the fact, and Diane has been pointing out as well, that there was such a heavy evangelical vote on the Republican side in Alabama and in Arkansas, and he's doing well in other states. But Jake Tapper, who covers Mike Huckabee for us, makes the point that the Huckabee campaign takes umbrage at that, don't they, Jake? They don't like it when you say, well, this is basically an evangelical campaign.
That's right. They say that they appeal to conservatives across the board, whether it's he's the only candidate that's come out in favor of a consumption tax or a so-called fair tax. And also, there are a lot of social conservatives throughout the South and the country who are not evangelicals, do not consider themselves to be to have religion prominent in their lives, and yet they are coming out in droves for Mike Huckabee. Remember, this is a man who is probably the best communicator on the Republican side, maybe even Democrats and Republicans, in terms of his retail political ability. He's somebody he's witty and quick, but he's also somebody who speaks from a core base of values as an evangelical. That doesn't mean he only appeals to evangelicals, though. It means that he is conveying a certain kind of ethics, although there are, of course, critics he has in Arkansas who might take issue with that. And I think there are a lot of conservative voters who believe that he actually cares about issues like same-sex marriage and abortion, and they're not sure where John McCain and Mitt Romney stand on those issues.
Not only that, and Jake, you've been following him for a while, Mike Huckabee has also added a different kind of economic message for the Republican Party, a much more populist message. He's talking more to downscale Republican voters, not only on those social issues, but also economic issues.
That's exactly right. His message, his populist message, has brought him support across the country. He's somebody who grew up poor, and he's somebody when he speaks about how voters want to vote for somebody who reminds them of a friend at work and not the guy who laid them off. That's a direct shot at Mitt Romney, who just exudes in every fiber of his being the CEO that he once was. And that's a message that he tries to use to get Reagan Democrats. Now, it didn't work so well in Michigan to pick up those Reagan Democrats, but it is part of his appeal in other parts of the country.
And we have to remember how far he's gone, right, Jake? I mean, he would imitate the tone of voice of people who summered in various places, and he used to say, when I summered, it was out with the mule and the plow.
But he says if you use the word summer as a verb, then you're probably not one of his voters. But there is an appeal he has to I think, a large percentage of the country. They're Republican voters, and liberal writers often write about Republicans who vote against their economic self-interest because of social issues. Huckabee is somebody who allows them to vote for somebody who is speaking, at least, if not necessarily providing policy proposals, speaking on behalf of their economic self-interest and also on behalf of their interests in social issues on abortion and same-sex marriage and stem cell research and those issues where they do not trust John McCain and they do not believe that Mitt Romney has necessarily shown the conversion that he truly is.
All right, thanks very much, Jake Tapper, with the Huckabee campaign down in Little Rock. And I want to go to John Berman, who covers Mitt Romney for us, and pick up on what we were talking about with Matthew Dowd just a few moments ago and George Will. And that is just what does now Mitt Romney have to win tonight? Does he have to win the state of California, do you think?
They've been setting up their expectations to have to win California, or as they put it, do very well there. There's simply not that many other states on the docket tonight. They're counting on that California victory to be able to say something about John McCain, that John McCain can't get the conservative vote. Already I've been getting emails in the computer here saying the real story tonight is John McCain can't lock up conservatives. Will there really be a Republican nominee who can't win conservatives? One other person told me this means John McCain's not locking up the race, so we'll live to fight tomorrow. But the bottom line is they put so much on California. Mitt Romney, a dramatic cross-country trip there last night. They flew back overnight just so they can make one more stop there. If he can't pull that off, it's going to be hard for them to find a way to move on.
Yeah, but John, all the third-place finishes now that we're seeing with Romney finishing or running at this point, I shouldn't say finishing because we don't have final results from these states, but running at the moment in third place behind, that's got to be very deflating.
Well, that's the thing about the Romney campaign. They've simply thrown everything at this race every step of the way. They've tried everything. I mean, he changed his positions from when he was governor of Massachusetts or from before that even. He's spent a fortune in New Hampshire, in Iowa, in Michigan, in Florida. That didn't make a difference. He's hit the conservative themes this past week. He's had support from all the talk show radio hosts, John Hannity, Rush Limbaugh. That may not be making a difference. Where else can he possibly go? And that's the question, again, they will have to be asking themselves tomorrow. Already, he's got no public events on his schedule. Already, they were planning a full day of strategy meetings inside the campaign office, and those strategy meetings may not be as happy as they would like.
And Charlie, after tonight, the Republican map becomes a little bit more like the Democratic map. You move off of primaries where there are a lot of winner-take-all primaries, and they get to more contests where it's proportional representation, so it's much harder to catch up.
That's right. George Will made the point earlier that that's exactly it. With all these winner-take-all states going to McCain, or at least most of them we've been able to project so far, it's much harder to catch up because there are not many winner-take-all states to come.
And also, Mike Huckabee starts to run out of map as well. He's had a big night tonight. George was talking about that as well because he had luck of the schedule, a lot of southern states tonight. After tonight, you got Louisiana coming up, but you don't have a lot of southern states going forward.
And when I mentioned the winner-take-all states, I want to go back just to the, if I can, to this to the Republican. Can you give me back that board where we have the summary board of the Republicans and what states they've won? Because I did mention the winner-take-all states, and that is New Jersey here, which is a winner-take-all state, New York, which is winner-take-all, Delaware, which is winner-take-all,
and Connecticut.
My circles are on top of one another, but those are very big.
And when we heard John talk about throwing everything you can at, and you mentioned the money earlier, we have a calculation, at least through December 31st, that Governor Romney spent about $1.2 million per delegate up to that point. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Not as bad as Rudy Giuliani, who spent about $50 million for one delegate.
One delegate so far. It reminds me of the John Connolly campaign in
it's even worse than that one,
1980. I had a chance to cover that campaign. Money was not as free-flowing in those days, but John had a lot of money, spent a lot of it, and got one delegate from the state of Arkansas, whose name I think was Ida Mae Mills, if I recall correctly. That's going back some. Want to go to the McCain campaign and to Ron Claiborne, because we talk a lot about this, what's going on in the South and the Romney-Huckabee division of what is a conservative vote. And as I say, I don't want to bury the lead, because as I pointed out, McCain is winning these winner-take-all states, and that really does give him a tremendous boost toward the nomination. And I wonder, we don't know yet what's going to happen in California, but it's going to be close in California either way. And so does John McCain come out tomorrow, do you expect, Ron, and say, or even tonight, and say, I'm the nominee?
I don't think he yet has the ability to make that argument convincingly, but this is still a good night so far for John McCain, because he's racking up those big states like New York, New Jersey, Illinois, winner-take-all states. Meanwhile, Huckabee is winning those southern states, and what's good for Huckabee is bad for McCain. And one of McCain's goals in Super Tuesday had been to try to knock out Mitt Romney. So to the extent that Huckabee's wins help marginalize Mitt Romney, make things difficult for Mitt Romney, that helps John McCain. And another interesting thing to note is McCain and Huckabee are very friendly on a personal level. It'll be interesting to see where this race goes from here if Huckabee becomes, in effect, the behind the front runner. When they ran in South Carolina, in the South Carolina primary just a couple of weeks ago, these guys both pretty much had to win that race, and yet they never really attacked one another. They respect one another. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out if it becomes Huckabee and McCain from here.
And Charlie, already tonight, John McCain is one of over 200 delegates, about 221 delegates. That's about 20% of what he needs to get the nomination, and that was building on the 100 he had coming into the night.
And we have to point out on the conservative vote, too, in the past month, McCain had gone up from about 26%, and he had been rising up to about 37%. So partially on the basis of maybe inevitability, winning. He was gaining more conservative votes. It's not completely intractable there.
He also did start to change his message a little bit. One of the things you heard from John McCain in the last month is he started to talk about the economy a little more on top of Iraq and national security. He emphasized again and again he would make the Bush tax cuts permanent, and there had been a lot of skepticism among conservatives about John McCain and taxes.
And we mentioned the winner-take-all states. There's one big winner-take-all state still to go.
Arizona,
Arizona.
home state.
And I don't think it's going to be any surprise if John McCain carries his home state. Indeed, he will overwhelmingly. That is almost certain.
Can I go back to the Democratic side for a minute? Because your trusty polling unit has been scrambling. We heard Cokie say that one of the most difficult things was for a female to get the male Hispanic vote. And I just thought we might like to know what's happening here tonight. Among the Hispanic male vote tonight, which is about 6% of the overall vote, Senator Hillary Clinton is 55. And Senator Barack Obama is 43. So that's for you, Cokie.
Well, so far tonight, Barack Obama really hasn't made much of a dent at all in Hillary Clinton's lead among the Hispanic vote. And there's been a lot of theorizing coming into tonight whether the historic tension between the African-American and the Hispanic community would lead to resistance of Barack Obama. So far, we're seeing it.
And I just want to, we've been showing you a summary board listing the states carried by the various candidates, but I want to show it to you in map form. It's the cartographer's preference, I guess, to do it in map form. But here you see the states that are up on the Democratic side and the states that Obama has carried or will carry, that we can project he'll carry, in the dark blue. and the Hillary Clinton states in the lighter blue, and you can see she has done very well up in the Northeast, although we're still not yet ready to project Connecticut, and she's done well in the middle tier of states, Obama winning the 2 southern states there and his home state of Illinois. Much to go, but that very important. And then on the Republican side, let me just show it to you very briefly. There's the division of the states, one in red by McCain, the darker state, Romney, just up in Massachusetts, and then the Huckabee states down there in the South and West Virginia. So that's where things stand as of the moment. You can always go to abcnews.com for other results, and we're going to be back because there's more states closing every hour.
This Friday, ABC's Good Morning America takes you on an incredible journey to another world. What's out there? Who's out there? Could traveling in space, even living in space, soon be a reality for more of us? This Friday, take the first step into this brand new world. Come along with us and defy gravity. Only on
Good Morning America!
This Friday.
Come with us on the ride of our lives!
Only on ABC.
What would you do if Oprah handed you a big bundle of cash?
Oh my God! But there's a twist. You have to give all that money away.
What?
Welcome to the big gift!
Sunday, March 2nd, 10 contestants on a mission around the country.
I cannot let this family down.
Competing to make dreams come true for total strangers.
I'm still in shock.
I love this show!
And the surprises keep coming.
Oh my God, it's John Travolta.
The biggest stars in Hollywood join the Big Give.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Each week, the challenges get tougher.
Fast and furious.
I'm done. I'm out of here.
You either give big or you go home.
And the contestants don't even know the biggest secret.
I'm going to surprise the winner with $1 million.
You've never seen a competition like this.
Biggest giver is
Oprah's Big Give. Series premieres Sunday, March 2nd at 9, 8 Central on ABC.
The polls close in California in just over an hour on this Super Tuesday. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Michelle Tuzzi, and this is an Eyewitness News Vote 2008 election report. California is the biggest electoral prize in the nation. The Democratic and Republican presidential candidates are hoping the state gives them an important edge on this primary night.
And voters across the state are also deciding a number of propositions, including the expansion of Indian gaming and a measure on term limits. Eyewitness News reporter Rob McMillan live in Riverside, where there have been some problems with voting today. Rob.
That's right. We're in Riverside, just across the street from UCR. Things have gone pretty smoothly, yes, though a few problems reported. Here's the deal. We've had several complaints of people who show up to the polling place. Turns out that they're registered to vote for the wrong party. Now, they're screaming bloody murder. They say it's the county's fault. The county says it was a misunderstanding. It was their fault. Nevertheless, they'll have several months to re-register in time for the general election. Some people say perhaps the problem is they've gone to paper ballots here in Riverside. Reporting live in Riverside, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Rob, thanks. California Republican Party leaders and supporters are gathering in San Diego tonight, awaiting the primary returns, and that's where Eyewitness News reporter John Gregory is standing by live. John.
And Michelle, we're expecting a pretty good crowd here tonight. This, of course, is the Republican Party's big party in California, and they'll be here around 8 o'clock tonight. We'll expect this room to fill up. Earlier today, John McCain was in San Diego trying to drum up support, trying to get those last few undecided voters to swing his way. It may be a tough sell in the Republican Party, especially with conservatives. They tend to be leaning toward Mitt Romney. A lot of the talk radio show hosts are pushing Mitt Romney, saying John McCain is too liberal. By the way, Mitt Romney not doing so good so far tonight. He has won his home state of Massachusetts, but it looks like the big states back east are going John McCain's way. Mike Huckabee, by the way, has won his home state of Arkansas. We're live in San Diego. John Gregory, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, John, ABC says McCain has won another one. Oklahoma. Stay with Eyewitness News for complete Super Tuesday coverage.
ABC News has election coverage until 10 p.m. Then at 10, join us for a special edition of Eyewitness News that will continue past midnight as the results come in.
Plus, you can always get up-to-the-minute election results on our website, abc7.com.
The Corola's cabin is so quiet. We've locked our friend inside with ferocious sleeping badgers. If awakened, they'll gnaw his face off. the more refined Corolla. Live the dream for less coin.
Wednesday is Mervyn's Buy One, Get Two Free clearance event. Doors open at 8 a.m. to tremendous savings with Buy One, Get Two Free on final clearance apparel, accessories, shoes, and home. Buy any one final clearance item and mix and match throughout the store to get any 2 final clearance items from any department absolutely free. Mervyn's Buy One, Get Two Free clearance event.